What's up, guys? I'm BTC. Welcome back to the Respawn series where I answer your questions. Today we're talking Magic Heroes, expansion packs, and more. The first and big question for the day, do you think Blizzard should add a wizard or a magician hero to the game? Gandalf the Third missing Shimada brothers. This is actually something that's popped up from time to time. Overwatch takes place in a science fiction universe, and even though there's some really far-fetched and fantastical things that take place there, it's all supposed to be theoretically possible given sufficient enough technological advancement. So it kind of works, but then you have some things like, for example, the Shimada brothers, Genji and Hanzo. Like, what exactly are the dragons that they're creating? Is it supposed to be magic, or is it supposed to be kind of an illusion? Is it an energy projection? Like, what is it? It hasn't actually been explained to us because, well, Blizzard doesn't really go too much into the lore. Even though we had the animation between Genji and Hanzo, they never actually explained what it is. So, I mean, some people have interpreted that as being like real magic that exists within the Overwatch universe, but pretty much everything else in the game, even though it comes kind of close to being magic, can all be explained away through technology. Like, even Symmetra, a lot of the stuff she does seems like it would basically be magic. I mean, she even has a magician legendary skin, but everything can be explained away in scientific terms. Granted, everything's, kind of loosely done, but the idea is still there. Talking about this reminds me of Arthur C. Clarke, a famous science fiction writer most known for 2001: A Space Odyssey. He has a bunch of adages, and they were put together into Clarke's 3 laws. The third one says that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. And if you look at a lot of the different stuff that goes on in Overwatch, from someone that's not familiar with it, it certainly appears to be magic. And I think that, yes, you actually could add a wizard, air quotes, or a magician to Overwatch and still have it be believable. But I think you would have to do it in a very specific way. For example, you could add an Omnic to the game that kind of pretends like he's a wizard, or maybe he has this kind of persona like he's a wizard, right? But rather than actually using magic, everything that he does, like conjuring fire and doing all that stuff, can be explained through advanced technology type stuff. So he could use nanotech, he could use all kinds of different hard light constructs. I mean, there's lots of different things that you could do to give the impression that it's magic, when in reality it's not. Like, there would be just a hint of, the scientific stuff behind it that says, okay, so it looks like magic, but it's not really. And if you make the character an Omnic, then it makes it even more believable. So yes, I think they could, but they would have to do it in a very specific way. Moving on to the speed round, what's your favorite video game? For the entire series, I would say The Legacy of Kain. I couldn't really pick one, maybe Soul Reaver 2. But the writing in those games is just unbelievably good. The Overwatch team could definitely learn a lot from them. For more recent stuff, I think the Doom game that came out just recently was really good, and I'm looking forward to the new one that's supposed to come out later this year. What's happening with Roadhog's hook? Why does it just keep breaking after contact? Because it's broken. Like, that's just it. It's bugged. There's no line of sight issues or nothing. I don't know why it's doing it. It just breaks it. It's annoying. Is nano boosting Zarya when she's at full charge a viable move, or should another DPS be nano boosted? It depends on your rank. If you're nano boosting a lower rank Zarya, you're probably not going to get too much benefit from it. But a higher skill player, if you have a fully charged Zarya with a nano boost, she's going to melt the entire enemy team. It is absolutely devastating. Will they ever add another sniper? It's possible. The problem is mobility in this game is so unbelievably strong, and dive is so good that playing a sniper is just really difficult. I mean, you have to have a lot of mobility even as a sniper in order to be competitive. So, I don't know. I mean, they could, but it's weird. It's going to be difficult. Do you think Bastion rework could happen? Yes, absolutely. I think he's on the list after Torbjorn. Do you think Brigitta's repair pack should have a shorter cooldown to make her a reliable healer? I've actually talked about this in the past. I think if they lowered the total amount of healing while at the same time lowering the cooldown, it would give the player a lot more control over who gets healed and make her more reliable. Are you from the Illuminati? Your meta predictions are too accurate. I cannot answer that, but agents are on their way to your home right now. Why does nobody seem to know that you stream? I have no idea. I have the little pop-up that shows up in the videos all the time. It's in the description. It's at the end of the video. Nobody watches the end cards anymore. I don't know. There's tons of stuff at the end. There's Instagram, there's Snapchat, there's Twitch, there's Twitter, all that stuff. Who's your favorite superhero? I would probably have to go with the Punisher. I feel like he's the only one that's actually willing to take out the bad guys. Or maybe Rorschach from The Watchmen. He's also really good. Why do people in mid-plat and down never want to coordinate? Mostly because they're just casual players. I don't think they're actually putting any significant time investment into trying to learn the game or trying to be better. They're just jumping in and just playing, and that's about it. Do you have any hidden passion you do not talk about in video? Not really. I guess the closest thing is that I'm writing a couple of books. There's a few that are sci-fi based, some that are fantasy, some that are Lovecraftian. I'm kind of tinkering with a whole bunch of different stuff. The problem is I just don't ever have enough time to actually sit down and put out a ton of stuff. So usually I just add little tidbits here or there, or I'll record stuff or whatever so that I can work on it later. I actually have writing a book as one of my goals on Patreon if I ever happen to get enough time to do it, but that's pretty much it. Do you think Overwatch will receive expansion packs like other Blizzard games? I don't think so. I mean, what would they add? They've already committed to not charging for new maps, new heroes, and all that sort of stuff. So what kind of things could they possibly add with an expansion pack that they're not already adding to the game for free? So I really don't think so. What changes do you think Hammond needs? He needs more damage, is basically it. Now, it doesn't have to come in the form of simply buffing his damage. It can come in the form of giving him more ammo or reducing the spread or something like that. Who is the best counter for Brigitta in Bronze? I would probably say Pharah. I don't think that Bronze players using Pharah are going to be all that exceptional, but the thing is, the McCrees and the soldiers are probably going to be worse, which means you can hang out in the air for a long time and they're not going to be able to take you out. So you can just hang out there and just keep shooting down at Brigitta and whoever else, and you really shouldn't have much of an issue. Especially if you have a Mercy who's pocket healing you. Do you have your own Discord server? Yes, as previously mentioned, all of this stuff is at the end of the video and it's also in the description below. Do you think Blizzard should allow us to manually change the background of the hero select screen? Yes, absolutely. Particularly for me, it makes it a lot easier in order to get screenshots and whatever else I need to do. Since Horizon Lunar Colony got a rework, do you think other maps will get reworked as well? And what maps do you think should be reworked? Yes, they should, and I think the next one is going to be Rialto. They specifically said that the win rate for the attackers is way, way below what it's supposed to be. I think it's something like 40-60 for win-loss in terms of attackers, defenders, so that's really out of where they want it to be. They want it to be as close to 50-50 as possible, so I would expect to see some changes to Rialto pretty soon. Is it going to be like this massively redone thing? Probably not. They might just add a little bit here or there, but yes, Blizzard definitely should go back and change problematic maps. Is Jetpack Cat the leader of Talon? Probably. Can Genji deflect Orissa's shield? No. How do you feel about Moira in general? I think it's a pretty good character. I like the survivability, the self-sustain. I like the fact that you can heal a tremendous amount, but I don't really particularly like what they did with the shield thing. I think they should revert that and make it so that she can heal through the shields again, for the simple fact that unlike other healers, she has to be up close and, you know, right there in the thick of it in order to actually heal people. But overall, I think it's a pretty solid character. Why does Winston do so little damage? He doesn't do a little damage though. He does 60 damage per second to everything that's in front of him. So the trick with him is not to single target enemies. You're supposed to be trying to get more than one enemy in front of you at any time. So that way you're dealing 60 damage per second to all of them. Do you think when someone leaves a competitive match, a bot should replace them until they rejoin? Have you seen the AI in Overwatch? It is unbelievably bad. Even the hardest difficulty AI in Overwatch is still absolutely terrible. No, adding a bot will not help it. It's just not a good idea. They tried doing that in CSGO and it's just a disaster. Are you a real villain? Well, technically, nah. Do you think they will ever add fall damage? No, this will never happen. They tried it in the early development of the game and they found that it was just terrible. It just caused way too many problems, so they're never going to add fall damage. In your opinion, is the GOATS comp more viable than Disrupt in the lower brackets? Yes, absolutely. In case you don't know, GOATS is the triple support, triple tank comp. It doesn't stand for anything, it's just the name of the team that first used it. So, yes, that requires significantly less coordination than something like Disrupt does, and also the characters used in GOATS have a way lower skill floor than the characters in Disrupt, so it's a lot easier for the lower bracket players to use those characters and be effective with them. Do you think Hammond can be viable in low ranks like Gold and below? No, I do not. His skill floor is way too high for the lower skill players in order to use him effectively. All you're going to end up doing is just feeding the enemy team ult charge. That's pretty much it. Do you think we need more voice commands like stagger the X, i.e. the character you're looking at, or X is low, or break shield? No, I think people should be encouraged to use actual voice comms more often. I don't ever read the stuff on the left-hand side. It's almost completely oblivious to everything that gets popped up. Like, I hear someone when they say, you know, I need healing or whatever, but I never actually look on the left side to see the text. Like, I'm focused on what I'm trying to attack or what I'm trying to heal or whatever it happens to be. How many Smurfs do you have, and what do you think about the Smurf problem in Overwatch? I have 0 Smurf accounts. I don't like it. I have one alternate account that is Cat Blob. You see it pop up in a bunch of my videos, and that is still level 1. I use it specifically for testing, and that's it. As far as the Smurf problem, it's being made worse because of the private profiles. Before you could see, oh hey, this guy was Grandmaster last season and all of a sudden he's now in Bronze or Silver. Clearly there's an issue going on here, but you can't do that anymore because of the private profiles. It's going to get worse. I already made a full video talking about this topic at length, so you can go and check that out if you want. Do you think Junkrat needs a buff or a nerf? No and no, he's fine. That's it for today's Respawn. I know it's a little bit late. I'm actually thinking of making a special edition of the Respawn where I just take all of the most commonly asked questions that people keep bringing up over and over again, and I'm just going to put it all in one video so I can just have that linked at the end or something, so when people are like, hey, why do you use the controls you use, or who's your main, or whatever, I can just point them to the one video and have it all be answered there. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to see more, subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss anything. Also, come hang out in my Discord server and my Twitch live stream. Special thanks to my Patreon supporters. If you'd like to see what kind of cool VIP rewards you can get, check the links down below. And remember, always blame the controller, because it's never your fault.